Hello, wine world. Welcome to the podcast, Wine in Black and White. I'm Thaddeus Buggs with the Minority Wine Report, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Jordon Bernfield of Business Development for Uovo. Is it Uovowines or just wine?
Uovowine.
And before it was Uovowines, it was...
We used to be called Domain.
Okay.
We recently rebranded, and I think it will be a really good thing for us going forward. We are now the wine branch of Uovo, which specializes in art and fashion storage, but we, remain the same company just with a new name. And I think that as a result of the acquisition that was made, it will be a really good thing for our clientele going forward. Even if at the beginning you got to practice saying Uovo a few times.
Uovo.
Over time, you're going to really think of it.
And we discussed it before. Uovo is an Italian term for...
It is egg in Italian.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that the egg is a very delicate thing that needs to be properly cared for.
Mm-hmm.
And that, if you're not careful with it, you'll crack it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's sort of the mission of Uovo as a company, is that we take the proper care of people's valuable things, whether it's their art, whether it's their fashion, and in our case here, whether it's their wine.
So, but Uovo, so your storage facility here can handle wine, art, and other things, or you just specialize in wine?
This facility does wine,
Mm-hmm.
and it has been, whether it was under the name Domain or now as Uovowine, we've been here for almost 20 years. And I think that for a little while, we were sort of a best kept secret in Chicago for wine collectors who were really interested in finding a place to store their investment or their prized collections. And for us, we really specialize in being able to help people maximize their collections, whether it is through the process of storage, which is kind of the starting point of it, and then also through a variety of other services that we offer here to help people take that collection and not only store it in the best potential conditions, best possible conditions, I should say, but also to make sure that kind of whatever they need, we can do, whether that's inventory or transit or making sure it's properly insured or helping them add to their collections or selling from it. And we do all of that stuff. So, as I think I've told you, I'm a former client myself, so I knew about it and I was really interested in the company, and I'm glad to work on the other side.
And that's another thing I want to get into. Give me a little bit about your background. How did you, other than being a client, how did you started out in this business, or what's your background like?
My background's in broadcasting.
Okay.
My background is not in wine, but I'm a wine lover and a wine fan. Really, my path here is probably pretty unique in that I started I was a sportscaster for 15 years and I'm still doing it, but I'm doing it part-time now. But as a result of the pandemic, obviously a lot of lives changed and careers changed. And after that experience of not having sports for a year and having to kind of think about what I wanted to do moving forward, wine has always been a passion of mine, and I started taking the WSET classes and really kind of got into it and thought about where I might be able to enter the wine business, as somebody that has been in broadcasting for a long time. And because I'd been a client here and because I had such a good experience here as a client, I thought, well, it would be cool if Domain were ever hiring, right? I didn't think that there'd be a job here, but it just turned out that at the time I was looking, there was a job offer here. And, I was really lucky that the company took a chance on me, and now I get to work on the other side of it here.
I'm a wine enthusiast. I have a lot of wine and I don't have any place to put it at. This is an option for a lot of people that do not have the proper storage at their home or another location. So walk us through the process of how a person become a customer with Uovo.
Yeah, so they can contact us at any time. And they would contact me. And what we are able to do is every step in the process from start to finish in their wine collection journey. So what that basically means is, we can come pack and pick up their wine. That would be one of the first things we would discuss, is how much wine they have to store and what kind of bottles that they're planning to store. And then we can design a plan for them, whether they wanted to use standard storage or premier storage, which is our two types of storage. The standard storage model is the self-managed model, where the client would have their own locker and their own key. And while our cellar is open during the week and on Saturday, they would come in and be able to manage their storage as they wish. You know that there are some collectors who love to be able to kind of get their hands into it and move their bottles the way they want to and set up their locker as they do.
Yeah, they like looking at their wines a
yes.
lot.
we got the lockers for those people.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's our premier tier, which is on the upper level of our facility by design. And that's the self-managed model. And that's, when my wife and I were clients here, that's what we used. And frankly, I liked it a lot because the wines that come in, we first provide a complimentary inventory of their whole collection. And for anyone that collects wine, we all know, we think we have a handle on it until we drink a couple of those bottles and then don't remove it from our app or our inventory. Of course, and then we doubt the entire thing, and then we're not sure what we have and what we don't have.
Exactly.
So we do it for you. We manage the inventory, and then anytime a client wants their bottles out of their storage, they'd make a pull request through us, through our digital apparatus, our website called Wine Owners, and then they could select the bottles that they want to take out, and then we pull it for them and put it into a pickup locker for them so that they can come when it's ready and not have to waste a trip here. They can come here, their name's on the box, they can pull it and go. We hope they say hi, but they don't have to.
And what's their access to this facility or any other one doing whenever they? I mean, I see you have people that come in and just sit at the bar and they pull a bottle, presume, and just have a glass. Is that open for all your customers? That's with
so
Uovo?
When you're a client here, you get a key fob, and that gains you access to the building. And our tasting lounge and this conference room that we're sitting in are available for clients to access every day of the week from 10 to 10. And then if they'd like to get into the cellar, there's separate hours for the cellar, which they can use weekdays and then on Saturday. So there's plenty of access to the wine. Anytime clients want to come see their wine, they can come do it. There's no secrets here other than we keep your wine collection safe, and we keep your wine collection properly managed and secured. And what really, I think, separates our branch here in Chicago from anywhere else within the company is we've got, as you've seen, and we've been happy to have you here, we've got a robust community of wine lovers that come in and use our space to taste and to share their wines with fellow clients. And really, that was one of the things that drew me to wanting to work here, because when I was a client myself, my wife and I came to a few of these events and we thought, this place is awesome. And we got to come here and check it out and continue to meet more people that enjoy wine the way that we do. And I feel fortunate because when we put these events together, I get to meet people like you. I get to meet people in the industry that love it.
The champagne event was amazing.
Oh,
just truly, champagne and fried chicken. This happened the other day. It was amazing here. Great event. Let's speak about this. And I know a little bit about it because my friend Mike is a client of you guys here, and we've traveled extensively to different places around the world, practically. What type of access will people have if they're not in Chicago, if they travel somewhere and they buy some wine or purchase some and they want to get it back here to Uovo?
It's a great question. That's one of the things that really separates us as a company. And when we were under the name Domain, it was Domain Wine Storage. So I think a lot of people thought only in terms of wine storage. And what I want people to know is that we are the total collectors company. We can do anything for your wine collection, and that includes moving wine from Europe to any of our locations around the United States. One of the things that really separates us is we have this robust transit network, which can move wines from any of our locations to any others, can move wines from any location to one of our facilities and vice versa. And then also, we have the ability to move wine from France, from Italy, from the UK. Through the UK, we can then get it to our facility in New York and then distribute it to any of our locations. One of the really nice things about anything that we do is that all of it is done in temperature and humidity controlled vehicles and movement where your wine is always stored properly no matter where it's moving. Additionally, if you're insured through us, it's all protected by us as it continues to move around the country. And so, for example, if it's moving overseas, it is properly stored. If it is moving from, we have a lot of clients that do this, as you can probably imagine in Chicago, that is. We've got clients that say, hey, I'm going to Napa, and I'm going to be buying stuff in Napa because who doesn't go to Napa and buy
Of course.
stuff, right?
Yes.
We have a Napa location where clients can have us pick up their wines from their various purchases at all the wineries in the Napa and Sonoma area. We'll bring them to our facility, put them on the pallet to the location of their choosing, in our case, Chicago, and it will then be sent on a truck that is outfitted with the same storage conditions as our warehouse, 55 degrees and 70% humidity, and safely transported here so that it goes right into their locker. If they're Premier clients, we'll inventory that before they even need to come pick it up so that it's already in their inventory, and then they can come get it whenever they want to get it.
Is there an additional fee for those services? Or
To transit, there is, not for the inventory.
Not for the inventory.
When they're part of the Premier service, any inventory we do is part of it. Now, standard clients can have us inventory, and there is a fee for those things because it's not part of it.
Exactly.
But yeah, as a Premier client, we'll consistently manage the inventory, and that's one of the reasons why I've always liked the Premier service.
And how does the insurance part of this takes place? Say, for instance, hopefully it never happens, but what happens if a fire, whatever?
Yeah.
What type of insurance do you offer your clients?
So our loss protection program will protect clients' wine from, natural disasters like that, or if our storage conditions were to go out for an extended period where we were concerned about the conditions of the wine. Now, that's why most of our clientele choose to insure through us, because they will gain that protection in our facility, but also in any transit that we manage for them. Okay. So if we do a pack and pickup for you and you're insured through us, you're all covered. If we pick up your wine in Napa, or we pick up your wine anywhere and transfer it anywhere, you're covered as long as you're insured through us. And so, that's why I think of us as a total collectors company, and that's why I think that my experience was so good that I wanted to work here, right? Because, I'm the kind of person who wants to believe in what I'm doing, right? And I believe in what we do, and it is why I think I can do the job that I'm doing.
For the average person that might want to, become a client, what's the importance? And I know the answer, but they might not know. What's the importance of having the right temperature control settings in transporting the wines and also storage of the wine? Yeah,
it's protecting your investment. And wine is meant to be stored at 55 degrees and 70% humidity, especially when you're buying finer wine and you have made an investment in this wine or this collection. What I always tell people is it's sort of like when you buy a car, right? When you buy a car, you get it maintained. You get the car washed. You do things to make sure that investment maintains its value so that when you go to perhaps resell your car or lease it back, it's in the proper condition that you want it to be in. When you have a wine collection, the same thing I think is true. And that's, I think, true of a lot of valuables, right? In the end, wine is an agricultural product that requires a certain level of care when it comes to its storage and its conditions, so that when you go to drink that nice bottle of wine, you're realizing it at the peak of its powers, right? if a wine bottle sits an 80-degree temperature, it's not going to taste the way you want it to taste.
Okay. No, very good. Now, if someone was interested, how do they get in contact with Uovo or you or whatever and say, hey, I'm interested in possibly becoming a client?
So they could email me, and I can provide you that information. It's jbernfield@uovo.wine.
Okay.
They can also call me at 872-806-1657. That's my direct line. You will get me.
Okay.
And you can give me a call anytime, and you can learn more about our services. I can give you a tour. I can show you around. And what I think you'll see, and I'm very confident in saying, is that this company takes the storage and conditions very seriously. And we have invested the money to ensure that we are secure and that our conditions are consistent at all times. I mean, we have a backup generator here, got almost a dozen cameras on premise. We have an ability to adjust our storage conditions even if we're not here. If things were to go up a couple degrees or down a couple degrees or rise by a couple percentage points in humidity, we can adjust it even if we're not here. So I can tell you that on those days when it's 100 degrees outside, if I walk into that facility, it's 55 degrees. Same thing, if it's -10 outside and it's freezing out there, it's the same thing in that warehouse. And because of how much we've invested to ensure the proper conditions, but also ensure the proper security and the alarm systems that we have here, we know how important your wine collection is, and we're going to protect it, because that is the business that we are in, and that is our responsibility as a business.
All right, Jordan, cheers. Thanks for the candid conversation. And you guys should check it out. This is Uovo, that's in Chicago. And normally I'm in Florida. I think they have a location also in Pompano down in Florida. And they have places all over the U.S. and the world. So it's a great company to, if you're looking to really protect your wine, as you said, it's an investment. And there's a lot of people that like sitting around looking at good, what I call good juice. Cheers.
Thanks for having me.
All right.